Hi, welcome to BIP Chat. BIP stands for Business is Personal, and this is where we really understand how important it is as a business owner that you understand how to bring in the personal aspect of your success in and how to balance your personal life with your business life. And so I have many different guests, some people looking at how you can develop personally and some people looking at your business. And today I'm very, very excited. I'm introducing you to Jeff Gosling, who is a gentleman that I've known for many, many years. He's got an incredible track record in supporting business owners, in them understanding their businesses better, in helping them to achieve their goals, in helping them to potentially exit their businesses, in helping them to connect to investors. So Jeff is going to be a fantastic person for us to talk to today. It's going to be a very enlightening session, and it's going to be looking at how can you scale your business. And as I know that all my listeners tend to be business owners, this is very relevant for you. We'll keep it fast-paced, very relevant to you. Listen in for the next half an hour, pick up some tips. There's always some great nudges, and enjoy getting to know Jeff. And if you want to look Jeff up on LinkedIn whilst we're talking, so you know how to search a profile, it's Jeff R. Gosling. So the R in the middle, Jeff R. Gosling. And as I said, he's a business strategy scale up and helps you prepare to sell specialist. We're going to be talking about some amazing tools and discoveries and also some statistics that none of us want to be part of. Before I properly introduce you to Jeff, maybe this is the first time you've listened to BIP Chat, and BIP Chat comes from Thomas and I. Thomas Power and Penny Power, as you know, many of you know, we've been supporting businesses, small businesses, since 1998, when we created the first social network for businesses that went global, always believing very deeply in social networking and making sure that people have deep conversations with one another. And in around 2009, we saw the world move to social media and went from conversation to broadcast. And I think we could track mental health challenges from that point onwards, probably in parallel to how much social media grew. And our mission in life is to create deep, caring relationships between business owners. And we have a fantastic community of 100 experts. And we are incredibly choosy about the experts based on not only their expertise and their track record, but also their values. And so Jeff is one of our experts. So Jeff, welcome. Absolutely fantastic to have you with us. Very excited about today, because as a business owner, whenever I spend time with you, I always end up with loads of notes and thoughts. And that, you know, business growth, scale, understanding businesses, that's your expertise. So welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
I'd love you to just tell everyone a little bit more about yourself to create some context here about what really matters to you and maybe your journey.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah, so I've been looking around helping people grow businesses for decades, either in businesses or more latterly my own business. I now invest, I raise finance, and basically do whatever it takes to help business owners get where they want to be in life. I mean, I won't go into the toolkits, but it's been a lot of learning, somewhere between a car and a house, investment in money, and who knows, thousands of hours of other stuff, getting into a situation where I can increasingly give value to business owners. And that's me in a nutshell. Primarily, it's about being that guide on the side, an advisor, a mentor, a coach, and helping them with whatever it takes.
Yeah, and I know a lot of that is where you really become a trusted advisor, build these really close relationships with the CEOs, the business owners, but also having toolkits to you is really, really important. And I think today we're going to be looking at two really powerful toolkits, two areas of business that are important to you. So just at a high level to keep people really interested, can you just run us through those two things?
Yes, so there are numerous toolkits out there, and I'm sort of officially affiliated with some. I've implemented others in businesses before I even did this. So I'm not too fussed about the badges and the names. It's more about picking the best tools at the right time. And today I was going to focus on a couple that I use with clients and when I work with potential clients or work on strategy work with businesses, they always give people a view of business that they've never seen before. I can't recall anyone going, oh my goodness, I've seen that before. And so one is, we're primarily going to look at how to build a more valuable business, which comes from the Value Builder framework by John Warrillow, if you've read Built to Sell. So I was trained by John. I'm a licensed value builder, so I'm going to make sure I use that. Go back to your point about toolkits. The reason I use them is because I can leverage them, invest in them, and I know they work, rather than it being the Jeff Gosling show. So, you know, if it works for hundreds of people and it works for 20 years or whatever, then why wouldn't I use it?
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's a bit about, like, I'm sort of creating this imagery as like a personal trainer is going to use the best gym kit in a
Yeah,
gym.
exactly.
Yeah, so that is fantastic. And I know a lot of what you believe in is how do you leverage stuff in business? What are the levers behind it? So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that you feel.
Yeah, so what we can do is I'll touch on the primary drivers of value. And a lot of people might ask the question, well, I don't want to sell my company. So perhaps I should just sort of segue in with the statistics you referenced earlier.
Yeah.
And they're not good statistics. And as somebody who spends all their time helping entrepreneurs, working with entrepreneurs, being an entrepreneur, I'm very much as much a part of this as you and everybody else. Most businesses fail. About 90% plus within 10 years aren't registered anymore. And they're not all gone because they've been bought for millions of pounds. And we know that because I've heard some statistics. There are 5 million businesses for sale in the UK. Most don't sell. Less than 5,000 sell for over £1 million. That's 0.1% of businesses. And I already knew that selling a business, I mean, if you've got a business in your whole world is built around selling that business, you know, then this is something we really need to focus on. Most businesses don't sell. And the really sad fact is that 75% a year after selling, those who are successful, 75% of them regret it a year later for some reason.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
And so we're in a world where most people fail. And we're in a world where even those that succeed kind of don't do it in a success way when they reflect on it a year later in terms of their life, their, you know, how they've left it and what's happened to their business since they've gone. So the reason I'm so passionate is because if we can address, and I know you do so much with our community, so I do appreciate that and being part of it, but being in a gang, learning from others, avoiding the mistakes and joining the 1%, it's not optional. It's the only way. And that's what this is about. It's just opening eyes a little bit. And one of the things that was quite interesting, I mentioned it while we were warming up. I do quite a lot of reading, and I'm reading a book I mentioned called The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli. And I do a lot of mindset coaching as well. And it's all about how we make decisions. And there's 99 biases. Psychologists have worked out, I mean, that's only in this book, I'm sure there's loads of others. We're actually really quite bad at making decisions because we've got all this kind of stuff in our heads. And one of them is overconfidence. And it's a good thing in a lot of ways, but it's the reason I think, or that he thinks, that entrepreneurs crash on and don't potentially learn what they need to learn to be successful.
I think it doesn't surprise me. And also, you know, you're not talking about people that fail to reach the ambition that they had for that business. You're talking about businesses that actually fail, stop, gone.
Yeah.
Which is such a painful thing. And I have to say that I have heard some sad stories this year from people who've taken their business into liquidation. I mean, a failed business is something that we should avoid at every cost. And it's incredibly painful. And so I think this is a really good subject to be hitting because there are a lot of pressures around business now. And one of the things that I really love when I talk to you about it is so many people have this passion and this belief, and they have an expertise, no doubt about it. You know, they're good at something, but actually the subject of business is a whole subject in its own right. And unless you work with an expert in business, you're going to struggle in business.
Yeah. And that's a simple case, and that's not a vote for Jeff Gosling. That's a vote for statistics. I mean, if you look at the statistics for people who had any form of coaching or mentoring in the first 5 years, any form, and it's a very broad church. Anyone who's read a book can say they're a coach. Anyone can mentor, right? So it's a very broad church. But when they did some research on, in the first 5 years, 80% of businesses fail statistically. With any form of coaching and mentoring and help, it flips around to only 20% fail. That's just having someone, and that's not even someone who may even have proven tools, training, everything else. It might just be someone who's got a different view of the world, who can challenge what you're doing, who can share some experience, etc. Or a community. I know you do, as I said, masterminding and all the stuff that we do.
I do find it fascinating when you look at people, what they spend their money on. They might spend loads of money on a website, loads of money on SEO, you know, loads of money on their marketing, but actually learning business and working with a business expert, they don't always do it, but yet all of the rest of it is rubbish without the fundamentals in your business right.
Yeah, we call it the stupid tax from a really good guy called Keith Cunningham. The road less stupid. Yeah, the stupid tax. You've got to get your stupid tax down. Wasting money on marketing, websites, stuff that's not right, messaging's wrong, not finding your market. I mean, it's just learning by your own experience alone is very, very expensive.
Thing is, one of the things about an entrepreneur, before we get onto Value Builder and the cash flow tool as well, one of the big traits of an entrepreneur, a business owner, is this massive amount of independence, and they don't think they need anyone to teach them. And it's a big flaw that we can all be in danger of having. I know it took me a long time.
Guilty as charged, yeah.
I remember being told I was uncoachable. Isn't that awful? This was about 20 years ago. Somebody said, "You're uncoachable." It stayed with me. Actually, it was an action coach that told me that. It was interesting. So let's, I know I should find out what was wrong at that time in my mind. So let's give some really good, useful information and nuggets to people listening, because I think very powerful what you talk about. And I know that we've had you do a skills session for our members and how valuable it was on these two things. So Value Builder. So this is about how do you build value into your business. Tell us more about that, Jeff.
Yeah, so all the research was done and as to why businesses are more valuable. Okay, and there are 8 key levers, key drivers, and by increasing the score, and anybody who's interested in a score, you can reach out and I can, get you a score. Don't worry, just reach out. So you get a score on these 8 drivers and an overall score, and basically getting your score up into the top kind of 20%, the upper echelons, which is where you need to be to sell a company, as we described earlier. Most don't sell. Okay.
Yeah.
It doubles the likely multiple that you get, and it nearly trebles the likelihood of getting an offer.
That you'll get an offer.
That you'll get an unsolicited offer.
Right.
Now, bear in mind, like all these things, averages can be very, very. That's one of the things in this book. Beware the averages. Okay. If you look at that kind of distribution underneath that averages of multiples and the averages of offers, what's actually happening is the top businesses that have been properly prepared and have considered what they need to do to be saleable are massively valuable and selling for lots of multiples. And most businesses don't get any offers because they can't be sold. They're not saleable.
Yeah, interesting. So
that's what it's about. It's sharing those drivers. Yeah.
Right. And can you take us through those? I know you've got a lot of knowledge here, and I've really enjoyed the webinar you ran. But can you give us a highlight of those 8?
Yeah, I'll whiz through the 8. Number 1 is the one that most people know about: financial performance. Okay, so this is about saying, look, your industry and sector and your profitability and the multiples of your EBIT are all very relevant. Your business is worth what just to be clear, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Any accountant telling you what your business is worth, or any broker, it's all nonsense. At the end of the day, you don't find out until you market. Okay, but number 1 is financial performance. What are the trends to your business? So trends are our friends. It's not I had a good last year. Trends. Okay, yeah. Number 1. Is it a profitable, good business? Is revenue going in the right direction? Okay, these are very important. But also, are these numbers provable? Okay, obviously people are looking to reduce risk. It's an investment. Who's audited these numbers, right? So number 1 is financial performance. Number 2, these aren't in order of importance for you as a business owner. They're just the order that they described. Growth potential. One of the biggest issues that brokers feed on this. Brokers feed on, we can help you sell your business. Oh, you must be worth getting that. Yes, we'll get you this. I'm not saying all brokers. There are some amazing brokers, but there are a lot of brokers that want to sell. They want to list people's companies. So by definition, they say, yeah, you've done it for 10 years or whatever years you want to sell. Growth potential is really important. It's about making sure that you've got a plan and a strategy for what would happen to your business if you kept scaling it up. And if you had more money and more time, which is what you'd get if somebody else bought it, what would happen to it? Nobody investing in your business gives a monkey's about the past, how many years you've worked, how many hours you've worked, how loyal your team have been. No one cares. They are buying the future. What is the story around growth potential?
Yeah.
Can you do new markets, new products, partnerships? What's going on there? Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3, I call independence. Value Builder call it the Switzerland structure. So you get the gist. Okay. Is your business risk-free in terms of its over-reliance on any one customer, supplier, or employee? Okay, pretty simple. Will I buy your business if you've got one big client and you've got a relationship? No. Okay. So that's an easy one to understand.
Yeah, that's brilliant. The
valuation seesaw, or teeter-totter, as our Canadian value builders call it. Just like the playground ride, there's a relationship between cash, which we'll come on to, and value. Okay. So when somebody's looking to buy your company, they're going to be writing 2 checks from the same checkbook. I know nobody does checks anymore, but go with it. One of those checks is to you for your business. The other check is to invest the working capital that that business needs when you leave.
Yeah.
If you're cash-rich business and it generates enough cash to grow and drive itself, then more of the money goes in the checkbook, the check to you, and less goes into the business.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we can all agree when we're putting these things in place, good numbers, good financial performance, a good plan for the future, independence and low risk, good cash flow. So they should sound like things that you want for your own business now, right? Not just to sell it. So this is relevant for you now if you're not selling. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 1. The next one up is really important. Okay. Recurring revenue.
Right.
Predictability of future revenue, a return on investment.
Yeah.
If you are running around in a business, I had this with a young entrepreneur the other day. If your business involves running around, getting a client, serving a client, running around, getting a client, serving a client, running around, getting a client, serving a client, you don't have a business, you've got a promotion. So this is about making sure that over time there are 6, there's loads of ways of doing subscription and different types of doing stuff, but this is a marketing and a product development exercise, right? For most businesses.
Yeah,
so if you're not good at that, get help. And this is about finding ways over time to increase the probability or the predictability of revenue through multiple types of recurring revenue. Starting at the bottom with we've got good metrics around people coming back to us.
Yeah.
Okay? So I work with clients month after month after month. I don't contract my clients to work with me for a year or 2 years. I can prove that I've worked with clients for 6 or 7 years, and my average retention is years, not months. Okay. So provability, but all at the top level, of course, is contractual. Someone signed up to be a client of yours for 5 years, 3 years, whatever.
Yeah. Okay?
And there's a range in between. Recurring revenue is typically valued at 3 times that of transactional revenue in value terms. And if you're running a business and you don't have repeat recurring revenue, I guarantee you are spending a lot of time and effort on sales and marketing.
Yeah.
So really important for business and really important for value. Next one up is called monopoly control. Do you control your monopoly? Most struggle with this. Again, we're getting into the world of marketing, differentiation, niching. How can we move your business strategically into a space where you control your pricing? You do not sell on price.
All right.
Again, good for your current business, super important for selling. You're a more profitable business. I think it was Warren Buffett, he called it a moat around your business, a deep and wide moat. Your competition can't take you over. Bigger companies can't take over your market and buy all your clients or nick your people. You're in there. Big companies, ones most likely to buy you are your big competitors. They think it's easier to buy you at a high ratio than to try and replicate what you've done. Plus, your business is a better business is your niche, right? You stand out and you get more clients. So that's a really important one, monopoly control. Again, more of a marketing one. In Value Builder, they could just reference on customer satisfaction. when I work with clients, I always do both stakeholders, customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. I also remove the word satisfaction, and we're looking for brilliance. Absolute recommended. Employees want to work for you and recommend you. Clients want to work with you and recommend you, not just satisfied. The best way to do that in terms of selling is having it provable with an external people looking at that, both sides. In the most well-respected one is called Net Promoter Score, NPS.
Yeah.
So get your Net Promoter Score up, do it properly. Provable companies that have happy employees and happy clients are more likely in the future to grow scale. And guess what? They're better businesses to be in if you're the main investor right now.
Yeah.
I've left the most important one, in my humble opinion, till last for most of the people I start working with. It's called hub and spoke, which in a nutshell means that the business, the owner, manager is sitting in the middle of the business and everything is on a spoke around them. Right. Everyone just comes to them for the answers. They sign everything off. The clients come to them. They got the client relationships, etc., etc. Okay. So half of my work, really, certainly in the early stage of working with business owners and entrepreneurs, is to elevate them to a position of, at the minimum, CEO, MD, just literally kind of oversight, and then ultimately chairman-y type, you know, not being that involved. If that's what they want in life. But if you want to be in your business like I do, then you can fashion the role that you want and make sure that when you leave, that's replaceable. That requires a lot of systemization and planning and everything else. So they're the main drivers for value in a nutshell.
And in your experience, when you're working with a company and you're looking at those 8 levers, so you're obviously working with many, many different senior leaders within the company to get it right. And how long can that take? I mean, that's how long is a piece of string, but
yeah, so it is how long. I also do mindset work and profiling, and people tend to have a natural pace, and you can push them to work in the growth zone, which is just slightly outside their comfort zone.
Right.
You'll find that the pace of growth will link to the primary owner or manager of that business, and so that's the main driver. It's not my abilities to dabble and skill and everything else. When you've got a leadership team, you've got the balance of the different viewpoints, the different profiles. You build a good team. The fastest way to do it, if you want to do it quicker, there's 2 fuels: cash and time. If you want more time, you have to hire people, which is more cash. So for those bootstrapping a business, which means only growing out of your own profits and out of your own pipeline, it's going to be slower than those, and I work with those too, and I raise finance, those who want to run around convincing everyone to give them X million pounds so that they can become 40 million pounds in 3 years. You know, so the pace is generally driven by that level of fuel, appetite for risk, and bringing in other investors, and the person's ability to grow, scale, and develop themselves to be able to grow a business. But you shouldn't be expecting to prepare a business for sale properly in less than 2 or 3 years, really, because you want the trends, number one, and number two, I think if you build a decent business that's churning proper profit in sort of getting close to 7 figures onwards in 3 to 4 to 5 years, you're doing very, very well.
Yeah, wonderful. I love the structures of those 8 levers. So that's the value builder. Now, one of my absolute disciplines in my business is cash flow. But I actually only really started to look at this probably about 8 years ago. Partly because we had a CEO in the business who managed it, but I didn't really. Cash flow is so critical, and I think a lot of companies have burnt themselves by not understanding cash flow, haven't they? So tell me about cash flow and the cash flow toolkit.
Yeah, I share my journey with you, Penny. I came from I help businesses to scale usually from an entrepreneurial perspective, of people who are very good at coming up with ideas, but not very good at building behind them. I tended to do that from a sales and marketing perspective. I was very strong on marketing, sales, team leading, building teams, people. I'm a people-focused person. So it took me quite a while. I totally understood numbers and finance and business and all that. I profit and loss and budgets. I had to do all that. I was a senior player in many companies. But I don't come from an accountancy CFO background. I will make that clear. So everything I share is from the entrepreneur's perspective, not from the accountant's perspective.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I often have to translate from people who've got accountants and CFOs into language that actually makes something a little bit more sexy for them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make it real simple. Okay. You mentioned the word leverage. So this is about levers. Okay. Now, when business has got so many things going on, if you know there's only a handful of levers to pull, it gives you clarity. And when you know what those numbers are, and numbers are the language of business. So if you don't like or know numbers, get someone to help you in your business or hire someone.
Yeah.
Okay? You cannot scale a business without numbers. And I come from that, not being an accountant. So the language of business is numbers. And there are certain levers that if you pull them and they compound, the effects can be fantastic. I mean, literally they compound. So minor changes to a number of these levers, boom, massive change in the business. And it gives you the clarity knowing what these numbers are, such that you when you're planning, you go, oh, if we move that number up and that number up, what can we do to move that number up? I can help people with the strategies, or they can read books. But if you don't know the number, right, you don't know which lever to pull, you know, it's very overwhelming with so many plates to spin in business.
Yeah.
So the order of those, so when strategizing and building value, we've got these 8 drivers. Okay, they're kind of things to build into your strategy. How can we improve that? How can we improve that? Okay.
Yeah.
Cash is one of them. Okay. And financial performance is the other, 2 of them. So this is one of the reasons it's so important that the owners and managers bring themselves out of the day-to-day. Okay. Because this is the really important stuff. If they don't want to do it, they need to hire someone, as you mentioned, a CEO, get someone who can. All right. So there's a bit of preamble, build up. There are 3 primary levers that if you for full cash, I'll come on to the others in business, but there are 3 primary levers for cash.
Yeah.
If you look after these 3 levers, they are the 3 levers of working capital. Okay, and you absolutely focus on these 3 levers and incrementally improving them all the time with strategies and everything else, then the rest will take care of itself as far as cash flow is concerned. Okay, so that's the key. Okay, if you don't like going through balance sheets and you only really understand profit and loss, which is really normal, this is what it's all about. Just 3 levers. Okay. Number 1, your WIP, work in progress, if you're a service business, or your stock days, if you are a product business. How quickly do you convert something you've bought or something you've done into an invoice? Bam. And busy business owners that hold this onto themselves and get into proper cash problems for no other reason than they don't get their invoice.
Totally get
this is not focus on it for 1 week. This is quarter by quarter, systematically improving how you position so you get money up front, how you position this. And a lot of that's between people's brains. Oh, they won't pay me up front. That's where coaching comes in. Half of this is between people's ears. So getting people, logistics of doing it, pretty easy, right? Get your invoices out quicker. Actually doing it, having conversations with clients, positioning it, having it in your sales process, different ballgame. Okay, so number 1, working on your WIP, or because then you're getting invoices out quicker. Or even getting paid in advance, which is obviously what you want, right? Number 2, how quickly the invoices get paid. Astonishes me how many people give 30 days notice because they used to work in big companies and think everybody should get 30 days. Right. It astonishes me. I've started looking at businesses time and again. They've got hundreds of thousands of pounds sitting in other people's bank accounts and seem to think that's okay. Professional services companies are often the same, often the worst. So again, I find if I've got highly empathic owners, you're a high empath, you know, highly empathic owners who are influencing cash collection, you'll see it's like a mirror of the owner into the business. They're too accommodating of other people's cash problems and they don't get paid. So systemizing that and putting the right people in the right seats is business critical to scale. And the last one depends on how much you buy in. Okay, you've got to pay your people on time. I'm not encouraging people to become bad customers, but obviously if you can work and negotiate especially if you're buying quite a lot of materials or you're buying quite a lot of stock, as you grow and as you scale, every single day that you can pay people slower has a positive impact on your cash flow. So every single day, and the tool I can show clients and prospects, or anybody who's interested, is called CASHFLOWSTORY. It's a genius piece of technology. Takes a few bits and pieces, turns it into amazing things, and shows you the incremental gains, just one day here or 1% there, and it's massive.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just about incrementally improving it every. So if you pull those 3 levers, you've got a handle on your cash flow. And anyone who's not got a handle on those 3 levers should prioritize it before they scale.
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that. It's interesting, the payment thing. I find that paying supply a bit, because I'm someone that pays people as soon as I get the invoice, even if they give me 30 days. I'm just, and that is the empath in me. But then I look at people like Stripe and PayPal and all these financial machine, you know, how much they are working with your cash all the time. It's where they make most of their money. And
Couple of days, right?
yeah, absolutely. You know, they hold on to Eventbrite. I mean, when you buy a ticket for one of our events, you pay straight away. We don't get the money until the event's happened. So sometimes they're sitting for 90 days on cash.
People don't understand that the point at which you do some work, right, or somebody does something or buys something, at that point, your money is in somebody else's bank account.
No, it's incredible. And I mean,
that's the point. Legally, your money is in somebody else's bank account.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's really is the, and I think those pressures on businesses, especially small business, was where we are working in a very software as a service driven world, where cash is going out at such, you know, they're predicting our cash flow, really, that we have to be so smart on the other areas. Because, you know, when I look at how much money goes out on subscription, where I've got no choice of when that invoice is paid, and in advance, and then you've got clients waiting to pay for longer. Yeah, I think that formula of those 3 are really powerful. And I bet you've seen some incredible impact when people look at that data.
Oh my goodness me. As I said, if anybody wants to look at their business, I can send them a little spreadsheet, ping it in, bung it in the system, look at it, and it will literally blow your mind. I mean, I say that because people have said, oh my God, I've never, it was a BIPper actually, one of the BIPpers, I've never seen that in my business. And I would also, going back to my earlier point about failure, it is very common. I'm going to repeat this because I'm very passionate about business owners not going out of business. It is very common that when I look at the impact on profit and cash of a very minor change in increasing their volume, i.e. getting more clients. The impact on profit's fine. The impact on cash is so small. If they carried, or even negative, meaning they will grow themselves out of business. Very common.
Where do you look at, so I think reviewing the prices you pay. So like when we started, our members were paying $249 to join BIP. That we don't increase the price for the existing members, but new members coming in now are paying $349 a month. And I wonder, because costs have gone up and the value within our business for the members joining has gone up, and etc. I wonder how many people actually are looking at their pricing as well and thinking,
well, that's one of the other is on their pricing. What's the 1% increase in price? What impact does it have? One of the first things we do, and I mentioned about how to increase prices. Again, there's lots of ways of doing that from a marketing perspective over time, test and measure and doing different things. But again, it's really common that when I start working with a client, I end up costing them virtually no money for quite a long time. Well, I don't want to cost any of my clients money anyway, because they get a valuable business with more profit. But even in the first instance, pricing is, you know, people aren't very good at pricing. It's a skill. It's an art. There's books on it, right? And it's an art. And getting that right, pairing offers, selling value, is far better to learn that than to work really hard and not make any money or not get paid because you can't negotiate very well with a new client.
Amazing value you've given us. Thank you so much. I hope you've all loved listening to this. It's absolutely fantastic. Make sure you do get in touch with Jeff. He's offered you some free tools as well here. So get in touch with Jeff. He's a good guy and he's not a hustler. He's not going to get you by the arm and force you into his funnel, so to speak. He's a really good guy who, as you can hear, absolutely loves business. Let me repeat how you can find Jeff. So on LinkedIn, find him on Jeff R. Gosling when you're doing a search on LinkedIn. Business strategy, scale up and preparation to sell your business. And as he said, not everybody he works with is looking to sell their business. but they might be looking for a better lifestyle from their business. They might be looking for more time from their business, might be looking to be able to take more dividends out of their business. Lots of different reasons that people are working with Jeff. And also he's an incredible connector of people. Amazing how many associates that he's connected with within BIP 100, where he wants to help them, introduce them into his clients, looking for experts always. So get in touch with Jeff. And you know, I think the idea of this podcast was to help you understand how the potential of your profit, cash flow, and the value within your business. And those 8 levers are really, really powerful. Transform your business into a cash machine, which is what we all want. That's what gives us our freedom. So
freedom's the
Jeff,
key word.
thanks so much. Have you got a website as well? Just remind me about your website for people to look you up as well.
It might, just for the purposes of this, just jump on LinkedIn and ping me a connection. Yeah, I do have all that, and YouTube and all that, but let's just keep it simple.
And of course, contact Thomas or I if we can make an introduction as well. And if you're a BIPper listening to this, I hope this has deepened your awareness of the incredible expertise, because I know you all know what a great guy he is, but really nice to look more deeply into the expertise and what's really important to Jeff. So thank you, Jeff. I've loved it.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Penny.